okay, I know I was dogging pre-workout earlier, but that used to be my catalyst. Because you can't take that stuff and start getting the jitters sitting on the couch at home and like sit through that for the next 60 minutes, right? So I was like, if I take this, I'm gonna be miserable if I don't go work out.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Muscle Matters. And here with Blake. The other two guys are on vacation, so it's me and Blake. And
Those
we're gonna hang
bums.
out. There's bums. Those what do you call them? Meatheads.
Meatheads.
You're one of them.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I just want to move well, man.
I think Steve's arms are bigger than yours, though.
They are bigger than mine. I stopped training direct arms probably like
10 years ago?
No, less than that. Probably like 5 years ago, because I figured out that I could maintain the size with chin-ups. I was like, well, I double whammy. I can build the back and get peak bicep activation by just doing chins.
Okay.
So it works. Plus, it's really cool when a 260-pound guy busts out 15 chins.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So we got a new
cool
coffee
someone,
sponsor, everyone. Covenant Coffee, and we talked about that on lunch break this last episode. But if you guys, especially if you live in Bakersfield, but even if you don't, covenantcoffee.org, I believe it is. Alex is going to throw the link on the screen as well as in the show notes. But awesome story, awesome ministry, frankly. But you guys drink coffee? 99% of you probably do. Go check out Covenant Coffee. They're our coffee sponsor.
It beats pre-workout. Try black coffee for pre-workout. Little sprinkle of salt.
Are you legit?
No, I'm being honest.
Okay.
That's my pre-workout, dude.
Really?
Yes.
So it's my pre-workout too, because I'm gonna work out when we leave here.
You put salt in it too?
No, I don't. What?
Well, it does two things. It cuts through the acidity of the taste.
Okay.
Okay, so it's smoother. But then also, sodium like gives you superpowers to work out.
Oh, really?
That's like really how you hydrate, is getting
Okay.
those minerals plus the water. It retains the water, and you're gonna get the sickest pumps.
I don't
of your
have my
life.
aminos.
Try
thing,
it.
But
Start putting some salt in them.
in the aminos
Yeah.
with coffee, aminos, salt, like just mix it all
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah. And then pre-workout on top.
I don't take pre-workout.
Just last week, weren't you saying like, dude, those Red Bulls are so bad for you? But
Yeah. What's wrong with coffee?
no, I completely agree. I think I choose to believe
I
that
think
the
the
liver
only thing wrong
processes
with coffee is if
caffeine
you're
better.
drinking coffee, it better be Covenant.
Oh. Bingo. We found it. That's the catch line. Now, they should write these for you. Like the Dude Wipes, all these other companies that come up with a really witty copy. Dude, we just need to tell them, hey, you just write the script for us. Or Manscaped, they have some funny ones too. So anyways, Mike, you recently just got back into working out.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm not a meathead like the rest of y'all, right?
Stop.
Stop. You guys had all these guys. It was like an odd picture. You had me in the picture.
It was a very large group.
It was
right?
a very large group. Yeah, it was probably like 1,000 pounds of muscle.
I'm not going to say you brought the average down. But
I did. I brought the average down.
But no, I think that humans are meant to move. You're moving. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So you guys the other day were talking about it takes 90 days to create a habit, and I had, for a whole bunch of reasons, really at the end of the day, it wasn't a high enough priority for me. That's really like anytime you're not doing something, that's what it is, right? It's because it's not that it's not a high enough priority, but it's not high enough on your priority list, right? So for me, working out was the thing that got bumped down. So I got inspired last I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, something like that. You and Steve and probably Tom were having a conversation, and one of the things that was said was it takes 90 days to create a habit. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get inspired by that. So I started, and I'm just at the front side of this, but I haven't missed a day so far. I'm gonna go to the gym every day for 90 days, even if it's only for 5 to 10 minutes, just to create the habit of I go to the gym every day. So even last night, like we got home super late, my wife and I, from we took our kids, dropped them off for Hume Lake Christian Camp. They went up there, but we had our youngest with us still. So we went to the beach. When we got back, it was like almost 10 o'clock. But I was like, no, I still need to work out. So my wife and I, we worked out last night together. And so been consistently doing that every single day. And so when we leave here, I'll go work out again. But for me, and I texted Steve, and Steve's always so gracious to me, so good to kind of coach me, and
He's awesome in that way.
So I told him, I said, what I always do is I start out really strong, and I go all in, and I'm like, I'm gonna work out an hour and a half every day, and then that lasts me like 3 days, right? And then I give up. Well, what I said this time, I says, I'm gonna do this different because I am older. I'm not an old guy, right? But I'm older than you, and older than Alex, and older than the young guys, right? And I also have a family, and I have a business, and I have a lot of commitments. So I'm like, okay, what can I do and keep up with? So that's where I came up with that. But I told Steve, I said, hey, I'm starting to get in the habit. Like, what can I do? I want to go slow. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to go too fast and like overwhelm myself and be like, oh, I can take all this on and be all, all in, and then it falls off, right? So what can I do? So he gave me a couple tips. He's like, do this and do this. And as far as supplements, like take the aminos, and he's like, and you've been taking rads, so you can still keep taking that. Stick with those two, and then obviously, like, he's like, don't even, like, I told him, it wasn't him, but he was in agreement with me. I said, I'm not even going to try to like radically change my diet yet.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to start trying to consciously make healthier choices,
Right.
but I'm not going to try to go hardcore because like try to do something that I can't commit to. So let me go 90 days to the gym, and then cool, now it's a habit. Now let me change this one thing. Let me change this one thing a little bit, little tweaks at a time, to where, in 6 months from now, I'm going to look like Steve. No.
I really liked where that was going.
No, in 6 months from now, I'm going to have developed just an entirely different lifestyle. And
you will be completely different in 6 months.
I'll not only will I look different, right? Because I will.
Yeah.
But my habits will be different because 100%. I was intentional, and I didn't try to rush it too fast.
I think the key word here is sustainability.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been through this enough. You've done the high school football thing.
Yeah.
Past that, you've done. What would you say that? Multiple individual bouts of trying to get back on the exercise bandwagon.
Yeah. Yeah, for like 20 years.
It always resulted in the same outcome, right?
Right.
So after a while, you've seen that the ball bounce enough times to know where it's heading next.
Right.
And so what you did that I don't feel a lot of people have the wisdom or the patience to do is just saying, hey, whatever that looks like today, I'm just going to make sure I do something. Now, does that always result in you going to the gym? Is that the action, or are you doing things at home also? Like, what constitutes a workout for you?
So for me, the commitment wasn't to do a workout. The commitment was to go to the gym.
Yes.
Except for the one thing I messed up last night. I said, okay, well, it's 10:30 at night.
Yes.
And I'm like 20 minutes from the gym. It's not close to my house, right? So I said, well, I even hate admitting this, but I didn't make it to the gym. However, I still did a workout, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, I think that still constitutes like at least like. And maybe I can qualify this, and you can tell me if you can let it slide.
No,
or not.
I love that.
But for that moment, my bedroom was my gym.
Come on. Well, I love the psychology of that, because it's like, were you intentionally thinking like, well, I can't like step in and swipe my card without working out. I'd look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good enough reason to say, well, there's a machine right there. I'll do something. And then before you know it, the way the mind works, it's like, well, I could do another set.
Right.
So I kind of want to do that exercise.
The first 2 or 3 days, I went in and I did 15 minutes on the bike.
I love it.
I love it. But then after that, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of lame. Let me at least do. So then the next day I did, I don't know, like 3 different workouts on whatever muscle group that was. Mm-hmm. And then so now the last one, not yesterday, but the day before, that I got up to was actually doing like, and Steve put together, I'll show it to you, like a pretty good routine that like, he's like, once this gets easy, then we'll progress, right? I love that. But it wasn't easy. So I didn't finish 100% of it, but I did, probably 60% of the workout. He said, so what I want you to do is take 3 of the 5 or 6, I think it was 5 workouts that I gave you, take 3 and rotate through those until they're easy, and then add a 4th, and rotate through those until they're easy, and then add a 5th. So then and then I was like, okay, so do I do that 7 days a week? Like 1, 2, 3, start 1, 2, 3. He's like, no. Take day 1, do day 1. Then the next day is your active rest cardio day. Day 2, active rest cardio day, right? So it's every other day that I'm working out, but I'm still going to the gym 7 days a week.
I love that. Stan Efferding says, compliance is a science. It's like, it's not some magic diet or pill or even like an exercise or whatever that's going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's just doing it consistently, day after
Right.
day, month after month, year after year. That's like you said, you do that. It doesn't matter if you're doing 5-minute workouts or 40-minute workouts for
Right.
6 months straight. You will be different.
Yeah.
Come that time.
And the other thing that really stood out to me that you guys had talked about was your why, right? And what is your reason why? So for me, there was like 2 of those things that you guys had talked about that really stood out to me. It was one, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the 70-year-old guy who's walking around hunched over with a cane, can barely get around.
Yeah.
I want to be the 70-year-old guy, and I know a couple that's very close to Ludavia and I that they embody this. I want to be that 70-year-old guy that can run around and play with my grandkids, The second, so that was number 1. Number 2 was I also want to be the, let's say I will be probably 50-ish around that time, your old guy that all of the boys come over to try to date my daughter, and they look at me and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna think twice about this one.
I love Tom's stories about that.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Even just your life being the proof of how you live,
Yeah.
and also what you value, right? I mean, I don't know. When I was a 16-year-old young lad running around Bakersfield, I didn't want to mess with the girls that had,
Their dads were
built-looking
jacked.
dads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, that guy's ready to party at any time. And I don't want to be the source of content.
Yeah, they're not gonna mess with you. You know what I mean? They're not gonna mess with Steve. They're not gonna mess with Tom.
That's right.
They might think about it with me.
That's
right
right
now. But when I get to be, I'm never gonna be most likely as big as you or Steve, right?
Don't sell yourself short.
I mean, you guys have, you both basically live in the gym, right?
Well, I do live in a gym, but not for the right reasons. Operating a gym is a little bit different. But I think that even in my own journey, man, it's funny that you say that. Like, I own a facility. I'm around athletes all day. I'm programming. I'm living that life in every way that doesn't involve working out. At the end of a long 12-hour day, I don't want to see that place anymore, man. I go home and I just want to be with my wife and babies, and it's been very difficult. I would say I've never had more of a hard time getting in there, having the discipline to train than I have probably in the last 6 months. Prior to, I want to say March, I had never gone longer than 7 days without training since I was 12 years old. So how many years is that? That's 18 years without taking a week off.
Yeah.
I remember taking trips to Hawaii, whatever, vacations with my family. I'd still find a way to work out.
But I think that's important, right? Because I remember back, like the last time I was in really good physical condition, I was working out regularly, and I remember going on vacation, and it was with my family, and I was like, I need to find a way to get to the gym and work out today. And my dad was there, and he was like, no, just you're on vacation, like he convinced me not to, and I don't think I went back to the gym for like quite a while after that, because I let it fall off.
Absolutely,
because it's easy once you get out of that. It's hard to establish the habit, and it's easy to lose it.
Absolutely, it is. They call that I forget the name for it, but it's like you don't want to break the chain once it's formed, even if it's only 3 links deep. You know what I mean? You just want to keep building that chain. I think that's innate in all humans, but especially men, right? One thing that's really helped me that I'm starting to do is just being okay, forcing myself to be okay with 30-minute sessions.
Yeah.
Which is not the norm. And I've never been a 3-hour guy. Lord knows, serum testosterone dips at the 50-minute mark. There's no point in spending 2-3 hours in the gym because you literally can't make the most use of your time after a certain point. But my sessions are usually, like, if I'm feeling great and I'm in the middle, if I'm on a great program and whatever, my usual session's about 60, 70 minutes. So cutting it at 30, that allows me to get through maybe my sprints, my plyos, and maybe my mains, so like the big compound lift of the day. And I can call it there. right? But what I've found is it's made that the lifestyle I want to have more sustainable with the lifestyle I'm currently living.
Yeah.
Being a dad, being a business owner, having other obligations, but like you said, it all comes back to your why. That's why a lot of people fall off, is they don't have a real attachment with why they're doing it. It's because they might be in it for the wrong reasons, seeking a vanity that maybe they don't really have the discipline to actually achieve. Maybe a body composition, whatever, that they're just are not genetically blessed with, so they fall flat on their face, and it's the first sign of opposition. They're like, I'm calling it. I'll give it another go at New Year's. You know what I mean?
How do you keep your focus on that why?
That's a great question. I think that it starts with defining it.
Yeah.
I've always been like a mirror guy, a bathroom mirror guy. Put on Post-it notes on my mirror, whatever, because I'm so ADHD, I literally have to look at it every day, right? But I'm also Neanderthal. I think ultimately having that attachment, it's got to be something deep. And it's got to be tangible. For me, it's my kids. I want to be able. This might sound ridiculous. I want to be gas station ready, where freaking bum walks up to my wife at pumping gas. Hopefully it'll be me, right? But 12 o'clock midnight at a gas station, I'm ready to tango at any time, know? And I just think there's a level of readiness that I need to always have as a dad. If I'm not in great cardiovascular shape, or I'm not feeling fast, or I'm not strong, whatever, then how can I defend my family if things were ever to hit the wall? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of a weird...
No, I think that's a good way to put it.
Because I'm no longer an athlete, but I think that humans that have blood coursing through their veins and oxygen in their lungs, I think we were created to move and operate like athletes.
Oh yeah,
right. Even though we may not play an organized sport, it's dude, if it came down to foraging for food and plowing land and all that kind of stuff, I like my odds.
I don't think we were built to sit behind a desk all day.
Come on.
So
how do you find ways around that in your own life?
Sitting behind a desk all day?
Yeah, I mean, you're cognizant of it. I mean, are there any things that you do, I don't know, maybe postural or, adjusting your environment?
For me, I got to get up and move, right? So, I mean, right now, this time of year, fortunately, this year has not been that hot. This week just happens to be. And I'll probably still do it sometimes. I go outside and walk. I usually walk a couple miles a day minimum. Even before, when I really wasn't working out, I was walking at least 2 miles a day. And it wasn't even that I was forcing myself to walk. Sometimes, for me, I just got to get out and think.
Yeah.
And when I'm walking, I can think, or I got to make a phone call. I can't sit still and do that. So, and a lot of times, if I'm here at the office, I'll go walk, around the neighborhood, and I'm I'm sure I walk more than a couple miles when I do that. So, but usually I'll probably go and walk a couple miles a few times a day.
Absolutely. I'm the most productive when, even after a small walk around the block or whatever, right? So I do it strategically, and I started doing this in college. When it was time to study for a big exam or something like that, I would not sit down to study before doing some sort of physical activity. It just, the way your brain chemistry is made up, we are the most effective in whatever our endeavors are with a degree of physical activity present.
Yeah. Well, when I need to think about stuff, that's when I go and walk.
Yeah.
So, or either when I need to make a phone call, or if I need to just
let
my
mind
mind
go.
go.
On the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm I'll sit and do my computer work, but I'm okay, I need to go and just kind of think about some stuff.
Sure.
I'll go for a walk just to let my mind think things through.
Absolutely. And you're a producer, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure your creative juices flow best when you're moving as well, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's been a big thing for me, is sometimes just to get out of the, I don't know, I call my office a dungeon lovingly, but I need to get out of the dungeon to be the most productive, but also be the most effective version of myself for those who count on me. So
you got
that's
a cool
big
office,
part of
though.
it. What's that?
You got a cool office, though.
Well, yeah, sometimes I just put those football helmets on and just do my work at my
Slam
desk.
your head against it.
Exactly. I'm looking for a brain blast, you know what I mean?
That's why I saw the dents in the wall.
Yeah, well, here's the deal, dude. Muscle does matter. And even if you're trying to, I love this book. I forget who wrote it, but it's called The Brain Always Wins. It's about the neurology of exercise and how it dictates everything you do, or has an impact on everything you do. It's not to be understated, but if you take care of your body, it takes care of you. And if you want to stave off mental, physical, cognitive decline, that's a great place to start is just exercising regularly. I love that you're making a habit of 7 days a week, man.
Yeah. And we talked about the 75 hard too. And I want to hear your thoughts about this because I actually thought about trying it, but I'm just like that. It's not even that the individual things are that difficult. It's just like, this is very time consuming.
Yeah. So I have nothing against 75 hard. I think that you have to be a little pragmatic and realistic about challenges. Because the reality of it is, for like every one success story that comes of it, there are 4 people that fell flat on their face and are in worse shape than when they started, because there was no plan for what happened afterwards. And so, yeah, I love, the whole 75 days is pretty close to 90, right? We're forming new habits. You're drinking your gallon of water a day. You're doing like 2 workouts. I forget what the checklist is.
But I already drink like a gallon of water a day, and I already am doing the workout, and I read a lot anyway. But it's like, I think it's like overwhelming to try to take on all of that many things and do it that consistently.
Yes. And the people who usually take those on are people who haven't already been successful in their physical endeavors.
Right.
So, I mean, we know, again, for all the good things our brain is good for, some of the negative consequences of falling out of a challenge like that at the 14-day mark or whatever, is that you totally dog yourself and you allow that to dominate your, maybe staying out of the gym for the next year or whatever the case may be. But a lot of those people also rebound super hard as well. We all know people that have been successful doing it, but just talking to Alex, I mean, we know people in this room, that have fallen out of that, I don't know, that catalyst for positive change.
Right.
And they're back where they started, right? So here's the deal. I believe that better than challenges, we should make smaller changes like you are. And I'm not saying this to toot your horn, man. I just think you're doing it the right way. What if we just managed one small, manageable change at a time?
Yeah.
And those compound over not 75 days, but weeks and months and years until, like you said, it becomes easy. You don't pour on. Steve was wise enough to not give you 6 workouts a week that would just be soul crushers.
Right.
He said, do 3, and when they get easy, add more. When you want more, it's like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Whenever you've built up a capacity for that. But if you would have started with 6, you would have fallen flat on your face just like the 75 hard group.
Right. Right. And I'm sure there's still going to be days where I'm like, dude, it's like 10 o'clock at night and I haven't gone to the gym. I'm still going to go to the gym, but I'm probably not going to do an hour-long workout.
Yeah. You have to understand the psychology of people and how they tick. When in our facility, when we're looking for, whether it's body composition or whatever goal-oriented endeavor someone undertakes, we always begin by asking them, okay, that goal's great. Now, what are you ready, willing, and able to tackle starting today to start inching towards that?
Yeah.
And those 3 filters will cut out a lot of the BS, like a lot of what they know needs to happen, but they're not quite ready for it, or maybe they're not willing to relinquish that, or maybe, maybe they're just not able to with their current financial schedule situation, whatever the case may be. It's not all realistic. If we were to pour everything on them, they'd fall flat on their face and we wouldn't get anywhere with them. But we're looking for real life change, and life change takes a while. Yeah. So muscle, like physiological change, anything worth doing, I would say, like any change of consequence that you would write home about, the textbooks say that takes 12 weeks to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like to even start the process. The brain changes before the body does.
Right.
And so, like, if you want to actually see this thing through 12 weeks, you better make sure that you're ready, willing, and able to tackle.
Which is roughly 90 days, right? 12 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard this on another podcast the other day. It's actually a business podcast. You'd probably like it.
Yeah.
But they were talking about catalysts, right? So like they used to be this couple, this friend of mine and his wife used to be a fitness coach, and they were incredibly successful in their business, beyond your wildest dreams. But but they said one of the things that they would always teach their clients is to have a catalyst. So, like one of the things they would do is just put on your gym shoes. Just put on your gym shoes, right? So for me, it's just go to the gym. So the other day I went to the gym, and I was like, I didn't bring my gym clothes. It's all right. I'm still going to do
matter.
it. And I snuck in wearing sandals and my regular clothes, and I didn't go and lift weights that I was going to drop my foot or anything,
Sure.
but I still did a cardio workout. I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to go to the gym. Did they want me in there with sandals? No, there's signs that say don't wear sandals, but I still did it because it was my catalyst is going to the gym. But if you do that, guess what? I'm not going to forget my shoes next time.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly
because
right.
I went to the gym and I made myself go in, and even though I only did a 15-minute workout, I still did it.
Okay, I know I was dogging pre-workout earlier, but that used to be my catalyst. Because you can't take that stuff and start getting the jitters sitting on the couch at home and like sit through that for the next 60 minutes, right? So I was like, if I take this, I'm gonna be miserable if I don't go work out. Just kind of a small thing I kind of did to trick myself into doing things when I didn't want to do them. So, anyways, my blood pressure probably didn't like that very much, but
right,
you know,
right.
that's what it is. Yeah, I like the idea of catalyst, man. For me, it's literally just going into my hot gym and starting sweating. So I'm like, man, if once I make it through
it is a little warm in there.
Yeah, once I make it through my ground-based mobility routine, I'll be kind of worked up, warmed up. I'll be a little bit limbered up. Again, it's just the movement. But then it's like, why stop at that? I could do a little bit more. I could do a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there.
Yeah.
And again, if I have a time to get past those first 30, I'm like, I'm in pretty good shape. But at the bare minimum, I have time in my busy schedule to do 30. I shouldn't make excuses or wait till the day becomes perfect for me. Just make it happen. And I like what you said earlier, dude. Just take action. You know what I mean? Ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah, yeah. So, what tips or recommendations do you have for me on this beginning of the journey?
Well, what's the goal?
I mean, right now the goal is just to go to the gym every day for 90 days.
Dude, I think you're already killing it, man. I really, really do. Then hop on some trend. No, I'm totally kidding. No, honestly, I think that what you're already doing is amazing. I would start setting when it gets easier. Start setting goals for something like you wear an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah.
Are you goal oriented?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like counting your steps and stuff like that on there?
I don't pay attention to that.
Okay. In your office, do you set like goals for the business?
Yeah.
Things like that? Okay. So maybe you could come up with tangible goals, right, that align with that why. Okay. Because ultimately, I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals, right?
Yeah.
They're small, manageable, attainable, all that kind of stuff. I would start setting those for, because now you've got multiple layers of motivation to keep that chain connected, keep the links not unbroken, right?
Okay.
And again, the more layers you provide, the more meaning you have behind this new journey. And again, it's just things that are going to hold you accountable, that I can hold you accountable to as well, right?
Yeah.
That like you could tell me, dude, I haven't been in the gym. I'm like, okay, what was your why again? That's, you know what? I want to take back my answer earlier. Getting your spouse involved is a huge one, because that's something you guys can do together.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to fall off the wagon when the person you're living with has the same aspirations, maybe not to like look the same way or whatever, but you're both changing something physically for the good of your family. That's always what I preach to my athletes is I'd look at the parents first. I'm like, well, do you support them in these goals? Yeah. Then stop telling me it's so hard to eat the right way, or to start making home cooked dinners when you know that's going to result in your athlete's success. Don't project your own, I don't know, cop-outs on the kid that you said you'd do anything for.
Beliefs.
I love bringing the home into your journey.
Yeah.
And when that happens, your chances of success go through the roof.
Well, my wife's pretty good. She works out regularly.
Yeah.
I
haven't met LaDavia yet, but she sounds awesome.
She works out probably at least 3 or 4 days a week. But she's been doing consistently like for a long time.
So you're already supported, dude.
And she's more motivated than I am.
Yeah. Your chances of success are already so much higher than the person that's like they're just trying to trudge it out on their own, and with a begrudging spouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude,
but the other thing that I noticed the other day, and it really kind of stuck out to me, was like our kids, right? So like my daughter, who's just turning 8 this week. She's been wanting to go, Mom, can I work out with you? Because this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Those seeds are being planted now of being fit and being, healthy. That are going to last our kids the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like going back to the goals one. When you're adding in those extra layers, it helps to be judicious with what you set those goals as. Guy A might say, I want to have a 300-pound bench press. Well, that's great, but at what cost? Are you going to tear something along the way? Whatever. Why are we really doing that? Guy B, he's like, dude, I just want to, like you said, be there for my grandbabies, things like that. Well, that guy, I'm like, if you want to reduce all-cause mortality, and ultimately extend the lifespan and quality of life that you live around your family, well, we should focus more on things like resting heart rate, lowering that as low as it'll go, dropping body fat, adipose tissue, things like that. There, maybe the health markers that we cue in on when I said, we need to figure out the goal behind, or the goal to support the why. Yeah. Make sure they're all in vertical alignment, make sure they all feed into one another, and make sure that, that's why I think the goals of vanity don't really last long, because A, they're usually pretty extreme. You're never going to look like the guy on Instagram, because to hold 6% body fat is just totally unhealthy.
Right.
Tom would tell you that.
What purpose would that have for me?
None. If you want to squat 500 pounds, I'm like, all right, that's kind of an extreme goal for most people as well. It's a ridiculously low percentage of people that can actually squat like 1.5 times body weight, Right. And so when you're talking about squatting big numbers, it's like, all right, how much do you like your knees and hips? Things like that. I'm like, hey, can we focus on things that would actually support your why? And as we do that, make sure that whatever the big goal is, you chunk that up into a ton of smaller goals, so that every time you hit one, you'll throw a party, you have reason for celebration, and then it's, I knocked that one down. On to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. The guy who sets up their goals in that way will never be disappointed, because you'll just be, at any given time, you're halfway to the next thing.
So what would that look like for me? With some examples.
Okay, so you want to play with your kids and grandbabies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I love the resting heart rate one. People don't think about that very often, but what's the very first thing your doctor does when you go in there? Check your heart rate and blood pressure, right? So why don't we set those as your goals, right? Okay. Like, if you want to be around for a long time, that would be a great start. So let's say your resting heart rate right now is 80. Well, the goal would be to get back to your high school playing, athletes, good ones, sit around like 40 beats per minute. So we're like, okay, let's take from 80 to 75. That's a huge win. Then to 70, then to 65, then to 60. And you're just stacking these wins under your belt. You'd be stupid to fall off. You already accomplished all that behind you, right?
Yeah.
I love the psychology of just not breaking the chain. And you hear me talk about that all the time. But habits, just bring it full circle. Habits are so important, man. But they take time to stack up and sustain. It's really a war of attrition. You have to find ways around yourself. And the first thing you did was you identified kind of why you fell off in the past.
Yeah, uh-huh.
How can I beat it? 5-minute workouts, getting it in my sandals. That's a great start, man.
Yeah. So... Cool. Well, super helpful.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, no trend needed. But, seriously, I think that for most people, man, taking an approach like yours is going to result in a lot of success.
Cool.
Pragmatism goes a long way.
Right. So, you guys watching, go drink Covenant coffee.
Or else.
Have a great day. Talk to you soon.